Hello. I was supposed to do this a while ago, but I kind of forgot. And, there's probably no point in doing it now because the server is ending. But you never know. I might reuse the card game that I made for it for something else. Um, because, I did spend like a week or so making it, so I might reuse it. But it's very simple. I'm not gonna bother with the payment rules and the thing. This is what you press to see who starts first. But I'm not gonna bother with that. That's part of the casino. I'm just gonna be talking about, the main card game in case I ever reuse it. So first of all, there's let me get this out of my hotbar so I can. These are the decks. Let me. I'm not gonna explain. First of all, you'd buy one, but if I reuse it, you might not have to. I don't know. It really depends on, you know, how I reuse it. But the main thing is you get a deck. One of these deck boxes. Oops, I don't want to place that one twice. And that one's in the wrong spot. So you get a deck box from somewhere. I don't know where it's gonna be if I do ever remake it, but you get a deck box. Now, in each of these deck boxes, you'll see on this side is a bunch of damage stuff. This side should be your health stuff, and over here is a bunch of extra stuff, like your specials, your like trap card, spell card kind of stuff. All right, you have your temp HP and your normal HP over here, and that's the same for all of them. Extras, temp HP, normal HP, healing stuff, damage stuff. There's different amounts for each of them, but it's all about the same. As you'll see, damage, healing, temp HP, normal HP, all this, this stuff. And then this one as well. This one, and no, just this one. Obviously, this one I wouldn't be able to reuse, or I'd have to use different, items because a lot of these are like modded stuff from the server. But, other than that, everything else is fine. Now, the next step, once you get a deck, you can't combine them. Just saying. So if you buy like Thorns and Roses, you can't take this deal damage and this healing one, or like anything like that. So once you get a deck, you choose which one you want out of all of them, and then I'm just gonna go with this one, the Baker's one. So you're gonna choose your spot. This can be played with up to 4 people, minimum 2. I mean, you could fight yourself, but it's kind of boring. All right, you in order to make a deck, you put it in this dropper here. Now, in order to do that, you're able to have as many of the damage ones and healing ones as you want. As many of them as you want. You can only have 2 of these, and it should take up an inventory thing. So let's say I want, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then for my last 2 here, I could take 2 damage ones because they stack up to 4. These only stack up to 2 each, but let's say I want to be able to double an action, and let's say I want to be able to play one of my opponent's items. So this would be my deck. You put all of the things in here till it's up to 9, right? And then for every turn, you'd figure out who's starting somehow. For me in the casino, I obviously have this button that changes into the color, and this red starting. So whoever's starting would flick their lever. They'd be able to not draw. Starting person does not draw, so they wouldn't draw from their deck. Then once it ends their turn, choose a direction that you want it to go somehow. I'll just go this way because why not? Because green's favorite color. So then this person would go blah blah blah. They would draw because they're the second person. Then it would get to you. So upon starting, you draw 5, and then I just forgot about that earlier. So everyone would start with the 5. Then it gets to my turn. Oh, it's my turn. So I draw 1. All right. Now, let's see. I have an SP here, so that's a good thing to talk about first. SPs. Normally, you can only place 1 item per turn, either in your on-hold slot or on your field. Now, an SP you can place in anyone's turn, and you can place it and another item. So let's say I take 1 damage for the next 3 turns. Obviously, I'd want to do that to someone else, but, you know, you know. And then I double it. So now I'm taking 2 damage for the next 3 turns. There's, probably some reasons you'd have that. There's, I think, something that makes it so you reverse the actions or something, whatever. But let's say you do that. So you can do that because that's an SP. If that was an SP, you couldn't do that. You can only do this. Alternatively, if you want to play this here, as soon as it's not, as soon as it's back to your turn, so let's say you play it in your on hold slot. That's your turn. You can't play anything else. Then you would end your turn. It'd be this person's turn, they'd go, this person's turn, they go, this person's turn, they go. Back to your turn. You can draw. And now, since this is in your SP slot, you can activate this, or on your on hold slot, you can activate it as if it's an SP. From any moment after it gets back to your turn, you can activate it on someone else's turn, activate it on your own turn, and it doesn't count as a thing. So since right now I have this and these three, let's say I want to deal 1 damage. So they'd be taking 1 damage, then blah, 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 I grab this, I'd be dealing 2 because this is an SP now because it was in there. And then I can double it and double it. So now they're taking 4 every single turn for 3 turns. And then obviously, I mean, the way to count is pretty easy. Every time it gets to their turn or whoever's turn is taking damage, take it once, and then 3, it'd be done. So that kind of thing, easy enough. But yeah, it doesn't function off of every turn, it functions off of the person's turn. So let's say green's taking damage every 3 turns. It gets to green's turn, they take damage, you take it once. You take all these because they're all doing the same thing. Simple enough. Okay, now, the next thing is, so SPs and stuff like that, they replace 2 slots in your deck, and they can only stack up to 2. Now, there's also, I probably have them in a backpack somewhere. There's also unique items. I have my own unique item and all that stuff, but unique items only stack up to 1, and they can replace anything. You can either replace 2 with 1. So let's say you want this one. Instead of being able to double 1 action, doubles all effects. So let's say instead of these 2 SPs, you want this. Instead of your 2 little special things, you want this thing instead. You could do that. Alternatively, you could replace, 4. You can do this. Yeah, I mean, you'll be very down on cards, but I mean, if this one is good enough, I mean, you can either replace 4 normal things or 2 of the special things. Also, just because it's a special does not mean it's an SP. Only specials that say SP can be played on anyone's turn at any time. Everything else, if it doesn't say SP, that means you have to play it on your turn and it counts as your 1 play per turn. Unless it's in your on hold slot or an item, lets you play multiple or something. Then, in that case, you'd be able to play multiple because the item says. Now, another very important thing, your health. So each of these comes with the amount that you would need. Also, this is your graveyard, but I'll get to that a bit later. Now, your health is also very important. At the start of the game, you can use your offhand, or, I mean, you don't have to, but you start with 20. Now, if you'll see there's a difference here. Some of them say gain, and then some of them say heal. Now, what that means is, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? You have temp HP, you have HP. If you use a heal one, it can bring you up to 25, but that's it. Using heal cannot give you any extra temp HP, but let's say you're at 25, and then you gain 4 HP. You would have, now, 4 temporary HP on top of that. Now, some temp HP does have a limit, so for 2 turns. You would gain 4 for 2 turns. Some doesn't, though. So like this one, you would gain just 4 temp HP, and this goes on top of your normal HP. So if they deal damage to you, it would deal damage to your temp HP first. Let's say they dealt 5, so it would take away my 4 temp HP and 1 of my normal HP. And now if I used a heal, if I healed 4, I would only heal 1. However, if I had 24 and I gained 4, I'd be able to heal 1 and then gain 3. So, I mean, it's honestly, it's quite simple. I don't know what happened to a few of my temp HPs. Honestly, that's fine. I don't care. But yeah, that's the simple thing. You just have temp HP, and because, in normal card games or like whatever, you'd be able to see their HP. If they ask, you do have to tell them. If they don't ask, you don't have to tell them. I've won a game before making them believe I was at, a lot because no one ever asked me what my HP was. If they don't ask, you don't have to tell them, but if they ask, you do. Because normally, like in Magic and stuff, you would be able to see their health. Telling them your HP 1 doesn't really matter too much, as long as when you die, you tell them. Once you're at 0 HP, you lose, or once you draw and there's nothing, so let's say I have, oh no, this is my last one, I draw. I'm fine. until next turn. I draw again, I have nothing, I lose. So that's how that works. And once once a card is removed from your thing, you send it to your graveyard. Even if there's very few, but some you can play in like other people's on hold slots to block them or other people's things or whatever. Even if it's on someone else's field, if it's removed, you put it in your grave. Now, the way that it works, you'll see there's not many slots here. Once your board is full, so like, say you played these, blah, 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 and then you play this one, now your board's full. All of these, they still happened, and now you would clear it and put all of the ones, so I had 2 of these, and I had these 4. They would now go in your thing. Your board auto-clears after it fills, and then they automatically go into your grave. If that was the voice crack, it's fine. Okay, if it's one of the ones that's like this, where it's gaining for 2 turns, and your board is full, so you have these 2, and then these 3. Your board would clear, except for this one, unless it's reached its final thing. But if it's still going, it stays, but once it is done, it goes into the grave. So that's how that would work. It's, pretty self-explanatory. Let's send these 3 here, because I used them. Oh no, so now they're in my grave. I honestly think that is pretty much it. I mean, there's not really much. Obviously, you can't make your own decks or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Well, I mean, I guess if you're using this in your own server, I mean, I guess. It actually doesn't really matter too much. I just, you can't make your own decks because I'm selling it in the casino. But if I ever use it in another server, maybe I'll change the rules. Maybe you will be able to combine them. Maybe you can make your own. I don't know. But that's about it for now, I think. Dropper is where you draw. You get 9, put it in there, blah, blah, blah. This is your graveyard. Main deck on hold slot. I think I've explained pretty much all of the basics that you would need to know. Nothing else is really that important. Obviously, unique cards only stack up to 1, and there is only 1 of each. I mean, it's pretty obvious by just looking at the uniques cards chest. But, yeah. There are obviously some, like, smaller rules, some, like, interaction rules that would be a little confusing. But, I mean, I'd be able to explain those if I ever, was there to make it. Also, I would like to, since, I didn't fully work on this game a lot, I would like to, say who helped. So originally, in character, obviously, I said I found this, but what this was is I was planning to build the casino before the server. I wanted to make a funny little card game, so I made this deck, and this was originally going to be the only one. And then I had it in a little Hypixel SMP server to play test it with Drafnir and Key, and I think Blank joined, and a few other people did a long time. I don't remember everyone, though. But Drafnir was honestly the main one. He helped with this one. He also helped with the Blood and Bones deck. He also, I think, basically fully made the Baker's Dozen deck. That one is empty, but I changed, like, a few things of all of them, obviously, like making everything more balanced and stuff like that. But, he did help with a lot of them, and then also he mainly was the one that helped me, like, playtest all the things and all that. Oh, Draco helped a little bit. He was originally gonna have, like, unique things like I did. I have a whole unique deck with a bunch of items that only I have because I made it, so I mean, makes sense. But he was originally gonna have it, and we were gonna have a whole Yu-Gi-Oh! Rivalry thing, but that never ended up happening. Obviously, you can only draw 1 per turn. You can skip your draw if you don't want to draw, but that's mainly if you think you're running low on things. Oh, right, there is the important thing. So, with the hand, obviously, there's a lot of things. They stack up. Stacks don't matter, but let's say you have, these 4, right? You draw 1, and now you're at 5. Once you're at 5, if you're still at 5, by the end of the turn, you have to send 1 to the graveyard to where you're down to 4. The stacks don't matter. It's just 5 separate items. That's what counts. So, these 4, they're fine, because these stack, these stack, these stack. It's fine. But as soon as there's 1 extra in your hand, by the end of the turn, if you play, let's say, like this, and this, you'd be fine, because then this one would be gone. So then you'd be chill. But let's say you only played 1, boom, you would still have 5 items, so you would have to get rid of something at the end of your turn. Anyways, I think that's about the only other thing. I guess I can, for anyone who would want to play this on their own, though I doubt anyone would. But, maybe. I will, very quickly, I'll just grab another copy of each of the decks and go over each of the items, I guess. Some of them are pretty easy. Some of them, are a little more complicated, but not really. But I will go over it and explain. The unique items, I don't really have to, because, they're unique to the server. If I did anything else, I'd probably make new unique items for them. But I'll just go over these ones. So, this one, deal 1 damage for 3 turns. You'd select a target. Oh, right, the little abbreviations, pretty obvious. Once you know one of them, you'd know all of them. So CBN means cannot be negated. So if you have like a negate 1 action, can't work on this one. Oh, also, right, a negate action can work up to 1 turn behind. So let's say someone deals damage to you, and then it's someone else's turn, and then it's your turn. You wouldn't be able to negate that damage. But if someone dealt damage to you, it's your turn, you draw and negate 1 action, you can then damage it. It works up to 1 player turn behind. So, yep, that's how that works. You can do it, to something they do currently, so they just deal 10 damage, you can negate it. But if they dealt 10 damage to you, then it's your turn, you draw and negate, you can negate that 10 damage. Now, deal 1 damage for 3 turns, you select a target, this cannot be negated, and they would just take 1 damage every time it gets their turn for 3 turns. Deal damage equal to half your missing HP. That would count not your temp HP, because that doesn't matter. That doesn't count in terms of, actual HP, but let's say you're down to 20. You would be missing 15, so it'd be half of 15 is the amount of damage you would deal. Deal 4 damage, just deals 4 damage. You deal 10 damage and then take 5. You deal 5 damage, deal 2 damage. Works through shield is what that one means, and then cannot be negated. So some things give a shield, and that just means you cannot be targeted for 2 turns, for a 2-turn shield, but some things can work through shields. All right. Gain 4 temp HP for 2 rounds. So you'd gain 4 of the temp HP. After 2 rounds, you wouldn't have it anymore. Gain 4 HP. You would either heal, or if you're already at full, you would gain some temp HP. Gain 2 HP, same thing, but less. Draw 1 extra next turn. So you'd play this, and then once it gets to your turn again, you would be able to draw 2 on that turn. If you played both, which, you'd have to have played one in your on-hold slot before, and then, yeah, but still. If you played both, then you'd be able to draw 3. Anyways, SP, skip 1 player's turn. You can activate it on anyone's turn, so let's say it just gets to someone's turn. You could activate it and skip their turn, but, it's pretty obvious what that does. SP, negate 1 action. You can play it on anyone's turn at any time, and it just negates 1 action. Remove all players' current temp HP. Again, pretty obvious, and it's an SP, so you can play it whenever. 2-turn shield. You can't be targeted for 2 turns. Copy 1 flower, which means anything from this deck. Doesn't matter if you're using it, doesn't matter if they're using it. It has to be on the field or in your grave, though. At first, it was any. The only one that lets you copy anything from anywhere is something that I have now, though. So if let's say you have this, in your deck still, but none on your field, none at all in anyone's graveyard, anything like that, you can't copy it. Now this, all players draw 2. Again, pretty obvious, all players draw 2. Swap 2 players' HP would include temp HP. So let's say someone was at 30 with 5 temp HP and you were at like 5. You would swap, you would get to 25 and 5 temp HP, and they would just have 5 normal HP. That's everything for Thorns and Roses. Obviously, you get the HP and temp HP. Minds of Mastery, deal 5 damage. Obvious. Deal 2 damage for 2 turns. For 2 turns, they take 2 damage. Easy. Alright, deal 3 damage. Cannot be negated. Works. Deal 2 damage. Works through shield. Deal 10 damage split evenly among all players. So, let's say there's 2 players. Both would take 5 damage. It, works like that. You are included in that. It's all players. So if it's you and one other person, you and them would take 5. Deal 3 damage, just deals 3. Heal 3 HP. You heal. So if you, would go above 25, you can't. It's a heal, not a gain. Heal HP equal to half your current HP. If you were at 10, you would heal 5. etc. Gain 3 HP. You know how that works already. Wipe target board. That does not include their on-hold slot. So let's say they have a thing that's active and like this and blah, blah, blah. They have 3 things here. It would clear those. Does not work on their on-hold slot. And obviously, that's just sends everything to their grave. Lock one player's on-hold slot. So what you would do with this one is, let's say you draw it, and you don't want green to be able to play anything in their on-hold slot. This would be in their on-hold slot for 3 turns. Once it's dead, it goes back to your grave. Now, if there's an item already in it, it would replace it. So this would kill whatever was there, send it to their grave, and then you would have that there instead, and they couldn't use their on-hold slot for 3 turns. So it's pretty useful. SP steal one item. You literally just take someone's item. Can be from their hand, grave, or field. Not from their deck, though. Draw 2, discard 1. I mean, again, pretty obvious. It's like a magic thing. Anyways, HP, temp HP. Deal 4 damage or 2 to multiple targets. So you can either deal 4 damage to one person, or let's say you have 2 enemies and you want to deal 2 damage to both of them. You can do that. Or if you have 3 and you want to deal 2 to all of them, you can. So that 2 isn't like a split thing. That means you can deal 2 no matter what. No matter how many players there are, you can deal 2 damage to everyone if you want. Or 4 to 1. Now, deal 3 damage, pretty obvious. Deal damage equal to the last damage you took. This is whole every turn wide. If the last damage you took was 5 turns ago, someone dealt 3 damage to you, this would deal 3 damage. If the last damage you took was at the start of the game, someone dealt 10 damage to you, the damage you deal would be 10 damage. It is the last damage that you took. So if you're playing this, you have to pay attention to how much damage you're taking. Deal 2 damage for 3 turns, deal 6 damage. These, again, I've explained, pretty obvious. Heal 5 or heal 2 to multiple targets. Let's say you want to team up with someone or something. Or if you have a team mode of this, something like that. I don't know. Or if, there's some items that can reverse effects, specifically Drafnir's unique item, but that doesn't really apply normally. But, there's probably a use for being able to heal multiple targets, and it works the same as this. You can either heal 5, or you could heal everyone for 2 if you felt like it. Gain 5 temp HP for 2 rounds. Already know how that works. Gain 4 HP or gain 2. So you would either heal 4, but let's say you're at 25 already, so healing 4 would be useless to you. You can gain 2 as well. Copy 1 mob drop includes this because it is in the Blood and Bones deck, and it's counted as blood. So any mob drop on the field or grave, how it works. All of your items gain work through shield for 2 turns. So let's say someone has a shield up, you play this. Now you can deal 6 damage because now it works through shields for 2 turns. Send 2 items to the graveyard. Can be your items, can be someone's item on their hand, on hold slot, field, anything. Just send 2 to the graveyard. That's it. Remove 1 board space for 2 turns. It functions basically the same as this, except it's only on the board. So it's like that. If there's an item, you remove it, send it to the grave. If there's no item there, they just couldn't play anything there for 2 turns. Return 2 other items from your graveyard. So you cannot return one of these. So if you have one of these in the grave and you use another one, you cannot return this card like that. It does not work on itself, but you can return any 2 other items from your graveyard to your hand. All graveyard count as yours for 3 turns would mean that anyone that dies doesn't go to yours. It means specifically for this one, really. And I guess I guess unique items maybe, but it's mostly specifically for this one. If you play this, everyone's graveyard counts as yours. You play this, you can return 2 items from anyone's graveyard into your hand. And then that's pretty much everything from here. HP, temp HP. Baker's Dozen, deal 5 damage, pretty obvious. Deal 2 damage, take 1 damage for the next 3 turns. Can be applied to anyone, but mainly on yourself because it is take. But under certain, I don't know why I failed to say the word certain there. Under certain circumstances, it can be done to other people. Deal 1 damage, +1 each game. So you have 4 of these, right? Copies do count, by the way. But doubling does not. That is not playing a separate one that is just doubling something. So let's say you have 4. You play 1, it deals 1 damage. You play a second one, it deals 2. You play a third one, it deals 3. You play a fourth one, it deals 4. Because it is plus one each time this game. If you have a copy, let's say you have like a... I know that there is a copy in here. Or not, I guess. Maybe that one doesn't have one. But let's say you have 2 SP copies. It doesn't matter if these are all gone. You play it. It would deal 5 because it would be the 5th time. If you're able to return this from your grave to your hand, it would deal 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just keeps going as many times this game as it has to. That's pretty obvious. Boom. Take 2 damage, deal 4 to an opponent. Again, pretty obvious. Normally, take is for yourself. Certain circumstances could maybe make you deal the 2 as well, but, you know, take means do it to yourself. Deal means do it to someone else, most times. Deal damage equal to your temp HP. If you have a stack of temp HP, somehow you would deal 64 damage. If you have 2, you would deal 2. You know, pretty obvious. All right. Gain 4 HP. Heal 5 HP, gain 2 temp HP. This does not have a limitation. You'd gain that permanently until it is, you know, damaged, and then it would be gone. Double 1 action. So let's say you play gain 4 HP. You would play double 1 action, and you would gain 8. It, you know, it does what it does. You deal damage equal to your temp HP. Double it, you deal, yeah, 2. So, I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious what this one does. Play one of your opponent's items, can be in their hand, field, or grave, or deck. Doesn't matter with this one. This one, any of your opponent's items, you can play. So, works like that. Send all on-hold items to their owner's graveyards. So, you know, if everyone but you has something in their on-hold slots and you're kind of worried about what they can activate, and none of them happen to be a negate, you can send all of their on-hold slots to their graveyard, and then, boom. Look at an opponent's hand. Now, you don't have to tell people what's in your hand. So, this one, though, you play this, and then they do. Normally, if they ask what's in your hand, you don't have to tell them. If they play this, and then they ask you what's in your hand, you would have to tell them exactly what's in your hand. Which could be deadly if you're playing with, you know, multiple people, because then everyone would know what's in your hand. SP, shield for 3 turns. Again, can't be targeted for 3 turns unless I have a thing that works through shields. Make everyone invincible for 3 turns. Is basically the same thing, except you can target them. It's just they can't take damage, and their items can't be destroyed. You can negate an item. Because negating doesn't destroy it. It's not like magic. If you negate it, it stays on the field. It just doesn't do anything. The only way to destroy is if it says remove it, or, you know, something like that. If you negate it, it's just functionless and on the field. So, I mean, it's just less shield, really. But if you really need to draw the game out, it works. Deal 4 damage to all opponents. Everyone but you takes 4 damage. Deal 2 damage plus 1 per player. So, let's say you and someone else are only playing, that'd be 4 plus 2. If all 4 people are playing, it'd be 4 plus 4. So, at most, it'd deal 8 damage. I guess if there was ever a mode with, like, more people, you know, that one would stack up quite well. Deal 2 damage works through shields. Deal 1.2 times damage, the last damage you dealt, and then take 1.5 times. So, you know, let's say you dealt 2 damage last, you would multiply that by 1.2 times, rounded up, everything is rounded up in this game, the last damage you dealt, and you'd take 1.5 times that. So it's not you deal that, and then you multiply it by 1.5, it's the last damage you dealt, multiply it by 1.2, and 1.5, you deal 1.2, take 1.5. So, you could keep stacking this theoretically, but you would have to, you know, do a little silly things to be able to do that without dying. Deal 1 damage per item on the field. That is, you know, pretty obvious. On-hold slots don't count. This is the field. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, items don't count. This is the field. So, you know, these 6 slots on all things. So if every single person they can't be max, because if they got to max, their field would reset. But everyone could have 5 at a time. And if everyone had 5 at a time, you'd be dealing a lot of damage per turn. So, well, not per turn, but I mean, you know what I mean. Anyways, yeah. So this is per item on the field, including itself. So, you know, every item that is on the field, it would deal 1 damage per that. Gain 4 HP, gain 2 HP, heal 6, gain 1 HP every turn this item is on the field. Is, you know, just a per turn thing, but unlimited as long as it's on the field. It does reset that one. Once your field gets full, if that one's like there, it will reset with it. It does not last infinitely, because, you know, things that last while it's on the field can get cleared. Things that last for a certain amount of turns can't get cleared, and then it'll clear once it stops lasting. But things that last forever get cleared. Anyways, negate 1 action and draw 1 item. That's pretty obvious. Take 1 damage from any, or take 1 item from any grave, copy 2 redstone effects, anything in this box. All right. Destroy target item, can be anything on the field. Choose the next item the player draws. So this one, let's say you are red again and you want to choose what green draws. Let's say green has all of these and pretend they're different items. So you'd play it, and then you would choose an item, and then once it gets to their turn, you would give them that item. You choose what they draw. They do not draw that turn. You give them the item that you want them to draw, and then that is what they draw that turn. Pretty obvious. Swap your graveyard and your deck. So, you know, if your deck's down to 3, but you have a bunch of stuff in your graveyard, it would be pretty useful. You swap them, take everything out of here, put these in here, and then boom, now you're swapped. That's how that works. All right. Anyways. Repeat 1 action, 3 per turn. Now, this is basically the same thing as double. You just do the thing again. So let's say you play this, you could do it again. This does work, by the way. So if you copy 2, right? Let's say you copy 2, and then you do this, and then there's some things that you could do with this one. This one's very funny and has a few, you know, ways that it could be played very well. I mean, to be fair, most of them do, but, you know, anyways, this one I think is the most kind of broken one, if I say. Maybe this one. These two are newer, so I haven't really tested them as much, so that's why they are. Anyways, the last one, don't really need to look over it as much because I probably won't use it because modded items, but deal 4 damage, deal 3 damage, works through shields, deal 5 damage to all players. Deal 4 damage, cannot be negated. Oh, now, none of these would say it, I don't think. Yeah, none of these say it, but some do, and if you ever see it, CBE means cannot be affected. So a negate one, it can't be negated, but someone could play it and you could destroy it. Destroying it is not a negate. Clearing their field is not a negate, so that would work on it. However, a cannot be affected means it can't be affected. The only thing that can remove it from the field is sending it to the grave when your board clears at the very end. So let's say someone tries to lock your slot that has this in it, won't work, cannot be affected is what CBE means. But at the end, once you have your board full, it can still be cleared. Anyways, deal 1 damage per turn, +1, yeah, I mean, still pretty obvious. So once it gets to 4 turns, you'd be dealing 4. So it'd deal 1 damage, then the next time it gets done, it deals 2, the next time 3, the next 4, and then it would deal 4 over and over and over and over again. And it would clear, and then, yeah. That does not mean max 4 times, that means max 4 damage. So it would be dealing 4 damage over and over and over every time it reaches their turn. Anyways, destroy 3 of your items, deal 8 damage, pretty obvious. Remove 3 of your items to the grave, and then deal 8 damage to someone. Gain 10 HP for 2 turns. You cannot gain HP. You gain 10, and then for 2 turns, you're not able to. I mean, again, pretty obvious. Gain 2 HP for 3 turns. Again, limited. Gain 5 temp HP. That's not limited. You can just gain 5. Gain 1 HP per item in your hand. If this does count stacks, so if you have this and this, you would gain 8. So that is pretty useful if you have a lot, but remember you can only have, you know, the 4 slots. Once you have a 5th, it doesn't work. Discard 4, draw 2, and then your HP and temp HP. And that is all of the cards. So I don't really think I need to explain anything else. Obviously there are some unique items. I'll go through them, I guess. All uniques minus Cry, which includes me, Drafnir, and Key's unique items, but these are all the ones that I've made for everything. Inferno's Grace, King of Games, Not a Lie, Gaia's Blessing, Scatter, Devil's Deal, Chug Chug, Beans. Deal 0.5 damage. Some of them have names, some of them don't. Gain X damage, draw, yeah, all these don't really matter because they're unique. I'm not going to remake them probably. But, you know, just in case, why not? Pretty sure that there is nothing else really important. SCA bag. Oh yeah, the name currently is Sky Cards Arena, but that's just because it's taking place on Sky Islands. It doesn't really have an official name. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, my unique thing. You can look at a few of those. This one is funny. My unique item lets me place a separate dropper and then draw one, and then whichever one of these it draws is what the item's ability is. So let's say I play this, then I'd place the dispenser, put all these in it, and then draw one, and let's say I gain this one. I'd be able to take 2 items from any graveyard. It's pretty cool. It's very luck-based. It's very neat, and I like luck things. So anyways, those are all the things, other than my main one. Or not main one, but, you know, my special one. You can look at, honestly, I don't really care. Because, I mean, this one I also might not use ever, but this one is the one I was talking about that I can copy literally any item. But other than that, you know, most items can only copy things from the field or grave. Anyways, that's about it. If you do use this, I guess credit me. I guess I mean, pretty obvious, but yeah. Also, in case you're wondering, no, this is not based off of like the Hermitcraft thing or anything. I have never seen anyone play that. I have no idea what that's about. I know it has items as well. Doesn't mean it's the same thing. I've never seen any of them play it. So, I have no idea what happens in that game. It was more based off of like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff because I like playing those games. Not Pokemon because I've never played Pokemon, but you know, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. And then just I don't know, some other unique things that came up with, but I mean, yeah. So that's about it. Yeah. I don't know how to end this, I'm gonna be honest. So bye.